Hello everyone, the Army of Otters here, and welcome back to the Unexplored Mojave. Today we're going to be checking out outside Bitter Springs. Now, I covered Bitter Springs a long time ago, and this special video was brought to you by hotdogwithmustar, who told me that there are some interesting things just outside of Bitter Springs, so that piqued my interest, and there are some kind of fascinating things just on the other side of the mountain here at Bitter Springs. So let's waste no more time and let's jump on into it. Now, in order to get outside of the map, I just did a reload dash at Ranger Station Bravo, and I was able to get over the mountain pretty easily. And here you can see I'm on the other side of the mountain from Bitter Springs. Now, there's two areas, and I'm not sure which one Hot Dog with Mustar is talking about, or if he's talking about both of them. But this first area on the direct opposite side of Bitter Springs might be it. We have a very flat ground with some kind of weirdly textured areas where you might have a house or something like that. So just kind of a really interesting little flat valley here opposite of Bitter Springs. Also, interestingly enough, we have what appears to have been maybe some kind of creek or something flowing down from the mountain. We can find this kind of lightly colored texture on the ground, and we walk all the way up, we can find what may have been a pond or some kind of snow melt, which led to the creek. And we can climb all the way to the top of the mountain to get some absolutely magnificent views of Lake Mead and Las Vegas off in the distance. Now, if we head all the way to the east, we can find this other flat area of land where there's some kind of interesting textures on the ground, again, maybe indicating houses were going to be here. Also, interestingly enough, in the canyon here, there's a bit of a hole in the wall that normally blocks the player from leaving. And you can walk right up to the game where the mountain is and kind of peek your head out, right next to Ranger Station Bravo. So I do wonder if originally this was going to be an area of the map where the player could go. There would be a small canyon through the side of the mountain there, or, this small little ridge, and then it would lead to this part of the map. Not sure what was going to be here, if it would be based on the NCR, or just further places in the Mojave. And one thing I wanted to cover in more detail that I failed to cover in a lot of detail in my original Bitter Springs video are the 3 Great Khan supply caves that are directly behind Bitter Springs. We can go inside this first irradiated cave that contains a bunch of these giant worker ants. They're pretty easy to deal with, especially using the All-American here. They just kind of die really easily. However, there really isn't a whole lot inside of this cave. After dealing with all the ants, well, you can find a lot of radiation, and you can also find an irradiated supply cache here in the back. But besides that, there really isn't a whole lot. Now, directly above this cave is another cave, which we're just going to call the Night Stalker Cave. And here you're going to find a bunch of Night Stalkers, along with another Great Khan supply cache. This one, however, is not irradiated. So just go ahead and clear out the Night Stalkers, and then you can kind of loot. There also might be some ammunition crates and stuff like that in this cave, so take what you can find, of course. Now, all of these caves are unmarked, and they're just directly behind Bitter Springs. As you can see here in the supply room, we have all kinds of things like whiskey, ammunition, all of that kind of good stuff. But besides that, the rest of the cave is caved in, so no good. Now, to find the last Great Khan supply cave, we actually have to go to the west side of the mountain, that is Bitter Springs. There's going to be some cazadors over here, so just take them out from a distance if you can, or use fire, or whatever thing is good for you. Here, as I was climbing up the mountain, I got attacked by this fire gecko, kind of annoying. Now, the entrance up here is a little bit difficult to kind of find. It's literally hidden at the very top of the mountain, right at the barrier where it prevents you from going out of bounds. And inside of the cave is where we can actually find a person. Well, if you haven't completed the quest, climb every mountain. We can find Oscar Valesco, who is a Great Khan, who has been hiding out in this cave trying to extract his revenge on the NCR for the massacre which happened at Bitter Springs long ago. As you can see the Great Khan marking in this cave. Now, if you're pro NCR and you're trying to help out Bitter Springs, I'm sure you're familiar with this quest because he has been killing refugees and soldiers, so we have to put an end to his chaos. But I'll be honest, until I started this series, the Unexplored Mojave, I had no knowledge of these caves, or at least no memory of those caves behind Bitter Springs, so I just wanted to go ahead and point them out and have them in a video, since I failed to mention all of the caves in previous episodes. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the Unexplored Mojave. Your guys' information and input on the outer parts, the outside parts of the Mojave is so important because there's so much to explore, it is so huge. So if you think of anything of interest on the outside parts of the Mojave, please let me know in the comment section below and I will investigate it myself. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and until next time.
Oh my god, are you the one who saved President Kimball?